What's up? What's happening? Welcome to a special solo edition of Pick Central here as we wind down, heading into summer break here at Barstool. You're stuck with me and Meek Phil behind the glass. I think Liam is there too. Jason is popping in there at the moment. We're going to hear from callers today. We're going to do a big caller show. But my first thing I want to lead off with here, we had some baseball. It was a pretty light baseball night. I think the only night game was Mets-Braves. The second round of the NBA draft. Nothing too crazy there.
In the second round of the NBA draft, I mean,
I just said it.
Yeah, it was a big event.
Big event, yeah. But I think what we're going to start off with is a little trivia. Or not even trivia, just a question. Who is your favorite all-time Texas Ranger outfielder?
Josh Hamilton.
Okay, well, mine's Gary Matthews Jr.
Oh, yeah. Wonder why that is.
How did you not get that?
Honestly, shame on me for not immediately saying Gary Matthews Jr. after that.
I can't believe you didn't start asking those questions. Like, the Gary Matthews catch is honestly iconic in baseball. Like, honestly, I compare pretty much any home run robbery to the Gary Matthews Jr. catch. The Denzel Clark catch this year for the A's, I thought drew the closest comparison to it. And I think I even tweeted at the time, like, that's topping Gary Matthews. It was crazy. Denzel Clark is an alien out there.
Did you ever consider Clemmer might be colorblind and he thought he was wearing red in that video?
I couldn't believe he said the Angels. And listen, live show, even if you're doing just trivia in here, getting put on the spot is tough. But when you're in the Final Four and you got Kirk just breathing down your throat and you're Mr. Baseball, you got to hit Gary Matthews Jr. on the Texas Rangers. And that was tough. And for them to lose by one, tough. He did hit the baseball unique pitchers question, which I thought was difficult. It's tough to come up with a number there. He was on there. I think he was off by only like 4.
He could have said 20 and ended up winning. Like, I think
True.
the other team's guess was like 17.
Like 19 or not a good guess. But at the same time, I don't know what I would have come up with at that moment. That's just tough on the spot.
Also, Dwayne Wise saved a perfect game for this AL Central team.
That if you yeah.
The fact
Tommy didn't even know it. Tommy was
White
uncertain.
Sox or Tigers is insane. Like, how do you just not say White Sox, Mark Burley?
Wild. Now, if you're gonna say who that was against, that I have no clue. I don't know who the White Sox are playing.
I think it was the Rays. I could be wrong. Because remember, there was a stretch where the Rays would always get no hit or perfect game. Like Felix's perfect game was versus the Rays.
That sounds right. But yeah, I mean, why is the layup? But Gary Matthews Jr. What are we doing, man? Come on. So that puts them in an interesting. Obviously, they lose by 1. Interesting spot going into.
It was the Rays
into July 28th.
Yeah.
Kirk. He's the reason Kirk's team didn't get to the finals. Brandon Walker. Congrats to Brandon Walker, by the way.
Yeah, finally got over the hump.
That was a great night of trivia. If you tune into that, just a blast. I thought I was doing well at home answering some sports questions, but once you deviate from sports, that's where I kind of fade off. But yeah, Dozen was great. Congrats to Brandon Walker's team, Fran, PFT. Yes, that was great. Hope you tune into that. Otherwise, in the sports world, yeah, second round of the NBA draft, not a whole lot going on. Thought there was rumors at first that the Lakers were trying to get Kalkbrenner, which I was going to laugh at because he was just going to ruin them because he sucks. He's now on the Hornets, Kalkbrenner.
Yes.
With Zion James, who's a great defender. The Hornets don't have much going for them because LaMelo is their best player, but they drafted a fun crop of players that, if you watch college basketball all year, you know their names at least. Mm-hmm. They kind of just drafted people we know. The Knicks just ended up drafting a French guy after we thought they were drafting the Nevada kid.
I kind of had a feeling the Knicks weren't going to keep their pick.
I did as well, yeah.
They don't want to add salary because they tickle the second apron.
If I were going to pick I wanted Jackson Robinson if I could pick anybody because I really liked him at Kentucky before he got hurt, and it felt like their season kind of dissipated the moment he did get injured. I don't know I don't think he got drafted. I think he ended up signing free agent, but
the guy the Knicks did draft, he is friends with Pacome Dadier. So we know we're keeping our future stars' best interests.
We got
in
pals.
Mind.
They're just going to live together. They're going to be roommates. Fantastic.
Also, Liam, you could show this. This is footage of the Knicks draft pick. No idea who he is on the court.
Oh.
But we have 9 seconds of footage.
That's just 2 missed layups.
Yeah, that's
or it's a brick 3 and then a missed layup.
But
Wait, what's the tweet? What's the caption?
Versace, Mala, pretty much all those guys are there.
Huh. All right. Well, let's hope he did something good there. Not really sure. Baseball-wise, you guys did well.
Yeah, we needed to split that series, and we did.
Griffin Canning tore his Achilles.
On the most routine play, a ground ball to shortstop.
On a play that wasn't to him. He just made a pitcher's, instinctual move to, take a step to your right, and then that shit just exploded. We know that shit too well now.
Yeah.
When the calf just vibrates.
It's 2 years in a row we lost the pitcher versus the Braves. Last year was Senga in his first game back versus the Braves, pulled his calf muscle. This time, it's the Achilles.
Manaya has the setback.
Loose bodies in his elbow.
Not good. You don't want that. So you guys are thin at pitching. You got McLean, right? You were mentioning him.
McLean
he has really good numbers in the minors.
They're probably going to call up Tidwell, though, because he's gotten the last 2 spot starts.
And McLean not on the 40-man?
Not on the 40-man,
right.
So that's probably why.
Right. Yeah, you're going to be digging to that real quick.
The spin zone is Canning was regressing a bit, so
he
it's
was
not
still a guy going out every fifth day,
still
giving you innings, occasionally good innings.
And you all know, he was probably going to get a decent amount of money this offseason, too. If he kept things, if he was even average.
Yeah, it's a brutal injury for him, too. For sure.
It sucks.
Yeah, so the Mets. So you get the split. Okay, so you're still.
Yeah, after the hell stretch of 3-7 versus the Braves and Phillies, we're still in first place by half game and 10 games up on the Braves.
Yeah.
So even after the Braves are completely dominating that entire stretch, they're still 10 games behind us and only 6 head-to-head matchups left.
For sure. Who do you have this weekend?
No, the Pirates, and we miss Skeens.
In Pittsburgh. Okay, your line is terrible tonight. The Yankees have the A's. Yeah, so this is going to be a caller-heavy show. I'm also selfishly going to talk a little about Wimbledon because the draw came out today. So, but I'm going to save that for a little bit.
You want to go right to the first caller?
We can go right to the first caller. Yeah. If you're listening, yeah, feel free.
Joshua wants to talk about Ace Bailey.
Okay. Oh, that's a good. You know what? That is a good guy to address. Yep. What's up, Josh?
Yeah, I was curious. With this whole Ace Bailey situation, I know if he reports, it will all be nothing, but I was curious where you think this entitlement comes from players. It seems like it's a recent trend across different sports recently of these players demanding, I won't be drafted by this team or I won't play with this team. Do you think that's a result of NIL and the transfer portal, or where do you think this entitlement recency has started?
It does feel like NIL has something to blame because they're coming in with money in their pocket. These guys aren't as desperate as they used to be, I guess. Because I'm assuming Rutgers, I don't know the number in front of me, but I'm assuming Rutgers paid him and Harper pretty well. So that's got to play into it for sure. The Ace Bailey thing, so the latest report is Walter Clayton got on a jet to Utah. Ace Bailey didn't get on that jet. And there's now certain doubt and uncertainty of what the hell is going to happen. Is he actually not going to report? That would really shock me. I thought when he got drafted, it was going to be like, you know what? You didn't go to your favorite spot. Tough luck. All right, I'll sack it up, and I'll play a few years there, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll like it.
Even his quotes, I can control what I can control.
It's a weird quote.
It's like he just doesn't want to be there. He wanted to be in Washington where he could jack up 30 shots a night.
But, can't you jack up 30 shots in Utah? I guess there's a few other players there.
There's NBA players on
Utah.
Yeah,
there are NBA players there, I guess. But I don't know, man. It's a weird spot now for Utah.
And if you're the GM, too, why draft him at that spot? Is it out of spite? If you clearly know he doesn't want to come, are they thinking about trading him?
So when they did it at the time, I thought I commended them because it's oh, good for them. Not calling his bluff. He's going to play for them. It'll all get sorted out. Maybe that was a dumb move. Maybe not heeding to his concerns of I don't want to play in Utah or Charlotte was idiotic.
It's a dumb move on his end. Dude, you're going to get $40 million for just playing in the NBA.
Yeah, he's got that.
Right. You'd be dumb to turn down that money.
That voice in his head from Sharif Cooper's dad is just continually saying the wrong thing, and he can't make heads or tails of it. It's a brutal spot. I guess he's a family friend, and they just don't want to, deviate from that. But man, you got to report. You got drafted in the top. What are you, 6, 5, somewhere there? So you got to report, dude. Come on. Interesting. I'm as a fan, non-Utah fan. I'm excited. Like this is exciting to follow now. This is a good timeline for like just drama. So that's where I'm at. I hope he doesn't report, because then it will truly be like a shit show. And I kind of want that.
It just seems to be a recent trend with athletes, and I'm sure it won't go away. I'm sure we'll see more stories of this.
Yeah, I think you're right though with the NIL assumption. Like them having there's not some desperation there. They got paid. He got paid at Rutgers, and he thinks he can pick his way. It's crazy.
Well, right. It's a big ego boost too when you make that money.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. So thanks for the call, Josh. Appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, I got another caller on the line.
Another call on the line. That was a good call. I forgot. We should have led with Ace Bailey.
Jackson, you're on.
Jackson.
Hey, Hubs. I was just calling. So with NHL free agencies, Mitch Marner's a big free agent, and he's had those playoff struggles. I kind of relate it to how Aaron Judge has had those, but his have definitely been longer. Where do you stand as a Yankees fan if Aaron continues to have a poor postseason career?
Yeah, okay. I didn't know where you're going with that with Mitch Marner, because I am not the biggest hockey guy, but you related it to baseball, so that helps me. I don't think I know who Mitch Marner is. I don't think he's like the star power of Judge, but I get that he struggles in the postseason, so relating to that. Yeah, hey, Judge has that monkey on his back, and it will stay there, similar to how A-Rod had it when he became a Yankee, and those struggles were brutal leading up to 2009. And once 2009 happened, you never heard about it again, and you always think of A-Rod as a Yankee as really a pivotal part of winning that 2009 World Series. That's got to happen for Judge. Certainly, that window is closing. He's not getting any younger, and the East the AL in general is not too tough, so he should get another crack at a World Series in my mind. But hey man, it is the ultimate thing that people draw back on whenever he has success in the regular season, fair or not. If he hits 65 home runs and he bats .350 this year, something around, and he wins the third MVP, the every single comment be like, well, what about October? And it's annoying as fuck, and it's infuriating to like downplay a legend that Judge is becoming, but it's also fair because he doesn't come through in October, and maybe like if you look, he has X amount of home runs, and if you put up like the total numbers, it's okay, but average-wise, he's just not the same player in October. Like, he's a 700 OPS guy. In the regular season, he's a 900, 1,000. This year, 1,200 OPS guy. It's just, now also part of that, too, is you're facing a lot better pitching. But that's not an excuse to just drop off that much. So, no, it's a brutal cloud hanging over Judge's head that I really, really wish he could shake. So, one of these years, it'll help me mentally if he shakes it, because I'm tired of dealing with the questions, and I'm not Aaron Judge, so imagine it's killing him inside as well. But yeah, thanks for the call. I didn't think I'd talk about Aaron Judge struggling in October right off the jump, but that's fair. A little news that came out yesterday as we go around the horn. Wander Franco.
Oh yeah, he's never playing baseball again, and probably should never.
He's not playing baseball again, but he's also not going to jail.
It's like a very weird sentence.
He gets a suspended sentence, which means it's only 2 years, which unfortunately it seems to be, as I dig into a little bit, kind of a thing down there where they just don't levy you massive sentences like we do up here. It's a suspended sentence, meaning he does not go to prison as long as he doesn't violate any of the terms, which I think one of the main terms is you don't talk to minors in a sexual way. Hey, pal, don't fucking do that. It's very light of a sentence. The mom got 10 years. It's just ugly. It's brutal. It should be way worse. They should be in jail, never see the light of day ever again. But yeah, I guess a part of it is it's going to be very tough for him to get a visa, or almost impossible. Yeah. So you will never see him again in Major League Baseball. Thank God. We shouldn't. Mm-hmm. No team should even contemplate that shit. If he was available.
The fact he got a guilty ruling makes it a lot easier for the MLB to be like, this guy will never play again.
Sure. And the Rays get all their money back.
Yeah, they only ended up getting like $8 million of that 182.
Yeah.
So,
but gross that he only gets 2 years and it's not even going to jail for it. Brutal. Interesting other storyline. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Masai
Ujiri.
So he drafted for the Raptors, then they just fired him?
I wonder if like this was like in the works for months, and then like how do you do a draft and then just be like, I get the fuck out of here?
Because like I think what they talked about, he's interested in the Hawks job.
Yeah, it is. Like you can take it.
That's bizarre.
I mean, since that 2019 title, like Masai, that was like when his PR was at his peak after winning that title. Since then, you look at what's happened to the Raptors since. Like he's done an awful job.
Oh yeah.
Like they got like I think they left Fred walk in free agency, so nothing for him.
Yeah.
OG they got RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, who are now albatross contracts,
horrible
no
trade.
draft picks back, and then for Pascal, I think they only got like 2 firsts. Like whatever they got for Pascal wasn't enough. Like
Kawhi was just a 1 year.
Kawhi was one. I mean, that was like the big trade. They traded for Kawhi Leonard,
Right.
who had no part of being
Now,
in
like,
Toronto.
No regrets there. Great move.
Yeah, no regrets.
Got you a title.
You
but,
traded DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard. It's like the biggest heist in NBA. One of the biggest heists in NBA history.
Yeah.
But
yeah, since then.
And then they trade for Brandon Ingram too.
I mean, drafted Scotty Barnes, very good player, but like haven't done anything else to surround him with
it's
any lick of
the
talent. They
clunkiest
attempted,
NBA
I guess, with IQ and RJ, but it's not.
It's the
working.
clunkiest NBA roster, just for no rhyme or reason. Like, why do you have RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, and Scotty Barnes on the same team? And the Brandon Ingram trade still makes 0 sense.
Brandon Ingram trade, yeah, like why? That's just not the direction your team's going. He's just there now. Yeah, funny enough, New Orleans and Toronto still no direction with those teams whatsoever.
Yep.
Just nothing. But yeah, very odd that he's just out. That was the guy the Knicks I feel like were interested in before
For
Leon.
a while before Leon, yeah.
And then that wasn't always, the Bargnani trade is with them, and it goes back. There was, I think there was some vitriol, I think, between the Knicks and him for a bit. Like he didn't like us, we didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
I forget exactly the reasoning there. But yeah, Masai Ujiri out in Toronto. So
I'm going to put the next caller on.
next caller.
Carl in Charlotte.
Carl in Charlotte.
How's it going, guys?
What's up?
Just wanted to talk Hornets basketball a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm actually a Knicks fan myself, but I'm down in Charlotte, and I feel like a lot of the nation falls victim to some of the Hornets narratives, which I totally get.
Yep.
They've been bad pretty much since their existence. But I think if you take a look at them, they're not Michael Jordan's Hornets anymore. They have a new front office. They have a second-year head coach. It seems like a lot of other front offices speak very highly of them. And they actually remind me right now of the Knicks when they brought Leon Rose in. They're doing a lot of small moves, but they're all smart. And they do have the luxury that a lot of the other teams in the lottery don't have, where they have the talent of LaMelo and Miller to build around. And I get they're not everyone's favorite players, but they were injured last year. These guys didn't play many games together. They didn't play badly when they were on the floor. The Hornets just had the injury bug last year and unfortunately found themselves right back where they usually are, which is high up in the lottery. But I think you see now you have 2 cornerstone pieces. You bring in 2 first-round picks that fit well with any team and can fit well around LaMelo and Miller where they don't really need the ball. And Hubs, it sounds like you don't like the center that they took in the second round, but
No.
that's a four-year defensive player of the year that can stretch the floor. I mean, you're taking him in the second round, so it's not like that costs you a whole lot, but I think he could be a good fit around those guys.
I think he's incredibly soft. I've always hated Kalkbrenner. He's an incredibly soft guy who, like, small guys can take advantage of him, and he can't shoot. From the line he can, but he has no, like, actual offensive game. He's just an alley-oop guy for the most part, and, like, right around the rim, turn around, like, floaters. And he's a second-round pick, so, like, whatever. You got him in the second round, sure, but that's just not – I can't stand Kalkbrenner. Maybe it's his face.
And I totally get that. I think a pick-and-roll guy with LaMelo could be pretty big, and he can defend the rim. They're definitely going after a lot of defensive pieces. They picked up a Kogi at the end of the year last year. I know he's not a superstar by any means.
Right.
But he's thought of highly at every fan base he's been with. But they're just picking up, I think, a lot of good role pieces. And when you already have a backcourt of LaMelo and Miller, that's huge in my mind and eyes. I think Khan's going to be huge with them. He fits very nicely with what they have. So I'm going over on their wins total. I think it's going to be a fun bet to keep up with.
What is
like
their
I said,
number?
I'm a
Do we
Knicks
do we have
fan,
their
but
number?
Doesn't matter. I know it's
Doesn't
low,
matter.
so I'm hammering.
They won like
over. I know it's
18 or
gonna be
19.
low.
They won 1963 last year. I saw their odds.
I hit their under this past season.
I saw their odds to win the title are worse than the Nets, and the Nets drafted 5 guys who aren't gonna really.
They drafted
do
5 second-round picks.
Yeah, so Vegas isn't really backing them in my mind. Now, I appreciate the call. It's fascinating to talk Hornets ball from a guy in the area. I know you're a Knicks fan. Thank you for being a Knicks fan. LaMelo Ball is what it comes back to, though. Like, I like Con a lot. In theory, LaMelo's passing could find the catch and shoot that Con is so good at all the time, and they could become a really good tandem there. And obviously, you also have Brandon Miller, but LaMelo Ball just isn't a winning player. I don't even think that's close to a hot take. Like, he is a stat guy. Like, that guy, he doesn't play defense to the level that you need him to. He chucks. I find him to be selfish. Like,
He's not a good player. He's a highlight player.
he's a highlight guy. He's a stat guy. He's a great guy to have in fantasy, I'm sure. Like,
That's why I'm always like confused. Like, why don't we have all these All-Star votes? It's like because his fans just watch TikToks. They don't watch actual Hornets games.
yeah. And did he not even make the All-Star team last year?
He was injured, so
Okay.
that was part of it.
But
That's the thing with LaMelo to me is like I feel like a lot of the stuff with him is injury related, and when you go on Twitter, yeah, everyone's going to say he's not a winning player. He's got empty stats, but they haven't had shit around him, and he can't really stay healthy on the floor. They have a new VP of their training, so hopefully he can keep the guys healthy this season. But I just feel like it's really easy to say, LaMelo's not a winning player when he's had dog shit around him and he hasn't been
that's
healthy.
fair. That's fair. But, like, at the same and health is definitely a thing, but that's also a knock on him. He's got to figure out how to stay healthy.
If you want to say the Hornets aren't going to be good because LaMelo's not going to be able to play, 60, 70 games a year, I'm totally with you on that. But I think they're a lot more talented and have a lot higher ceiling than what we give them credit for.
I guess more what I'm saying is, like, when I see his numbers and, like, he's averaging 25, 7, and 5, it doesn't have the impact that it does. Like, that 25, 7, and 5 is fake in my mind. Like, that's just him. He's having his usage rate, I'm sure, is enormous on that team. Like, that 25, 7, and 5 on a different team hits a lot nicer than it does with Charlotte. So, like, it's more just like I don't know what kind of player he is on a good team. I don't know what his stats even look like. Like, they very well could translate. Like, I'm sure there's people out there who think a healthy LaMelo, swap him with Halliburton on Indy, and it's.
I've been biting my tongue saying that, man. I don't think the Pacers drop off that far.
See, really I'm a Halliburton guy, so I'm not gonna go there, and I just haven't seen it with. But I could see the argument. I could see what people say there because of the vision, and he has the shooting ability. Last year was not a great shooting year, but in previous seasons, 35, 37, 38%. 33 for him is not going to cut it when you're taking upwards of 11 fucking threes. That just can't happen. Taking 11 threes a game and shooting 33%, that's not it. But I can see what you're trying to paint there with the LaMelo picture. Hey, maybe these guys that they drafted this year, and with Brandon Miller having another year under his belt, and Khan becomes the guy that they hope he is, maybe we do then see a competitive Hornets team. I don't see it. But if I'm wrong, then I'd be fascinated to see what this Hornets team shakes out to be. I do agree, though, like, adding defensive guys like a Zion James, that guy locks up. That guy was a mauler at Duke and at Tulane. I have a Tulane friend who I would just watch Tulane games to hope they'd lose, and I knew Zion James way too well. But they have some defensive guys, sure. Let's see how it works. Vegas is not backing them at the moment, but Vegas has been wrong in the past. But I appreciate the call, man. Go Knicks.
Thanks, guys.
Well, you mentioned him averaging 25, 7, and 6. Like the next, what the inflation stats are doing with this crop of NBA players, we're gonna start. There's gonna be people that look at past NBA players like they're gonna look at Darren Williams averaging 16 and 8 in his career and be like, oh, LaMelo's a better player than Darren Williams, and it's like, no, it's not even fucking close.
Right. Like, honestly, like, I bet Steve Nash, some of Steve Nash's years aren't like going to blow you away, or Jason Kidd's numbers are going to blow you away. Steve Nash averaged 14 and 8 for his career.
Yeah.
People are going to think that guy was a fucking backup point guard.
Even people still trying to discredit his MVPs. They're like, how's Steve Nash been 2 MVPs? Well, he was a really good fucking player.
Yeah, like, oh, hey, when Steve Nash won his first MVP, he averaged 15 and 11. I'm
he never
sure
averaged more than 20 a game.
No.
More than 18 a game.
No. And that's why I, like, the close, like, obviously pre-injury, we didn't know what it was going to look like. But, like, if we're trying to paint that picture of Halliburton being a star, Nash is probably the best way to look at it because Halliburton's not going to average 25 a game. That's just not, but he's going to average a ton of assists, and he's going to run an offense the same way Nash did with Phoenix, where he was he started that engine. And he was the reason they pushed the floor as fast as they did. And that's the same thing with Halliburton. You see what happens also when you take away Halliburton. You get Game 7 where they just couldn't fucking move the ball. They had no fast break opportunities. They had no spacing. Like, you just can't take that guy away from the team. So it's tough. Like, there's different versions of stars. Halliburton's a star in my mind.
I still think the Pacers will be fine because they have a good roster. Like, they'll probably be like a play-in range team.
Who's their point guard?
Nemhard.
I don't know, man. You gotta.
Or, like, they'll pick someone up in free agency.
If you really map it out, there's 3 teams in the East next year. Maybe 4.
No, I said they're going to win a playoff series. No, but, like, I think they're going to be better than the Bulls.
Oh,
they're gonna be better than,
they can be a play-in
like, they're
team.
literally better than the Heat. Like, they'll be, like, a 500 team.
They could be a 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, if you tell me they're a 6 or 7 seed, I'm not batting an eye
Nothing
at that.
above that, though.
No.
There's 3 teams. It's the Cavs, Knicks, Magic, and the Celtics. I'm not going to count the Celtics until they trade away Jaylen Brown. I don't know if they're going to do that anymore because the trade's passed. The draft's passed.
And the other thing is, like, the Pacers still have, like, a good coach in Rick Carlisle, which can, like, mean something.
Sure.
It means
And
something in the playoffs,
also, I'll throw the Sixers in as a wild card because their variance is just insane.
Yeah, if Embiid plays more
the
than
Sixers
50
could be the
games.
1 seed, honestly, if all those guys are healthy. But they also could miss the playoffs again.
Liam could show this. Our friends at DraftKings are offering Cooper Flag specials.
What do we got?
Him to average 18 and 6 this year is plus 285.
That doesn't seem difficult. Well, it seems difficult.
Is he going to get the volume, though?
I would think he would, though. Because of the roster. Well, I'm saying with Kyrie out, he's going to score more.
I get it. What is he? His line on points per game is 16.9.
In college?
No, in the NBA. Like, that's what I mean. Like, will he average minus 115 over 16.9 points per game?
Okay. Wait, what else was on that graphic? There was like
It
some
was just
long
like
shots.
to win the Southwest Division, Western Conference. I think that's just too much of a stretch. Like, I don't think you're having that high hopes for the Mavs.
No, that would be if Kyrie has to come back.
Yeah.
And you have to be joining a really good team, like a defensive.
Yeah, but his
juggernaut.
points per game is 17. His rebounds per game is 6. Like,
I'll tell you what. I mean, not to get on Nico's bandwagon, but like if AD does stay healthy and you have Cooper and he's the guy you envision, they're in a good spot. They're a playoff.
it's the
team.
Western Conference, though.
Well, but we talked about it, right? Like with Memphis being down and Sacramento being down, you're removing those 2 teams from the fold, so they're a play-in team at worst, and they could maybe get to the 6.
Maybe.
Depending what you don't know what's gonna happen with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. They're old. Their health. And some other teams, the Clippers. The Clippers could fucking fall off a cliff. But that's all if AD stays healthy, and that is another story. But I appreciate that call. Interesting to just talk about Charlotte basketball and their plan.
To your point before, I just saw this highlight on TikTok when Tracy McGrady scored 13 points in, 30 seconds or something?
Against the Spurs?
The total of that, they get to like 80 points in the game, where it's like that's how inflated it was.
Yeah.
Like it's just a different thing that you're talking about now.
No, we were talking about those Pistons games in the finals back in what year was that? 04? It's like 75-70. It's just like a different sport. Yeah, right. Now the funny thing is with those Nash teams, they were putting up numbers. Like that Suns team that's the 7 seconds or less Suns team. But the thing is, he was just a guy who was finding people, and he would space the ball and push it and locate. And he would eventually hit his shots, and he'd knock down a free throw shooter. But it's just a different basketball game. But yeah, you're definitely right. If LaMelo has a 15-year career and he's just the same guy he is right now, people will look back 10 years after his career and not see that they were miserable teams and be like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah, let's look at the stats.
Do you guys remember LaMelo Ball and how sick he was? Like, no. He was just on a losing team the whole time. I always think it's the Michael Carter-Williams effect. Like, Michael Carter-Williams won the Rookie of the Year, averaging near a triple-double.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the Sixers were like...
Also, and never heard from him again.
No. That was just the Sixers.
The two most random Rookie of the Years of the past, 15 or so years. It's the Michael Carter-Williams year and the Malcolm Brogdon year.
Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah. Yep.
Everyone else, I think, is an all-star player, Rookie of the Years.
Yeah.
Also, bring that up. Liam can show this. The San Antonio Spurs are going for the three-peat Rookie of the Year with Dylan Harper at plus 900. I don't hate that value on Dylan Harper.
I didn't put together that they have back-to-back.
Wemby and Castle, yeah.
Dylan Harper, 800. The thing is, so he's going to start at the 2?
Yes.
Okay.
And he'll be on a winning team. The Spurs are going to be really good next year.
If Wemby's blood clots thing is resolved,
yeah.
Yes. I think so. Will they?
I have very high hopes for the Spurs.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest De'Aaron Fox guy. Just because, they had a choice between him and Halliburton in Sacramento. They chose him. It didn't work out. Now they were the 2 seed that one year, so I guess.
The chat saying, why is Hub slandering fellow Cuse alum MCW?
I'm not slandering him. Listen, I was in school. I was actually partners with him in class. I swear. Good dude. Honestly, an awesome fella. But, I mean, that Sixers year was, the definition of, fake. Someone's got to score the ball. Someone's got to assist. He was the high-usage guy. He was awesome in college. We went to the Final Four with him. He was a breath of fresh air. But it didn't work out in the NBA. He had an okay career.
Yes,
he lasted, I think, a little longer.
Solid career, made his money.
I wouldn't say slander. I'm just more that is the year you point to of it's kind of a fake Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. Do we have any more callers at the moment?
No callers,
nope.
but the lines are still open if anyone wants to call in.
Lines are still open. So I guess I'll bore some people with some tennis until they call. But the draw came out today, so the tournament starts in a few days. Very exciting. Gets us through the morning tennis into about 2-3 p.m. because unless it's the indoor courts where there's lights, obviously. It's great. It's great to gamble on, man. Live tennis and if for Barstool people like myself, we're just gonna be home all week, so that'll be on from the moment I wake up until the afternoon, and you start your day. But some interesting draws, I guess. I was gonna have Blutman on, but I think he's a little busy over there in Chicago today, so you just got me. Unless the double fault guy wants to call in, I think I'm going on his pod later today. But it's an interesting draw. Sinner and Djokovic, not the easiest of paths. Whereas Carlos Alcaraz, my boy, think if you're putting money on him, you're in a good spot. That's just basically where I'll leave it. I got to find where people broke down the regions. I think Jose's going to have it. Ben Shelton is going to be in Sinner's region. That is not good for Ben. I wish he had an easier path here. Tommy Paul, I think, is also in Sinner's path. That is not great for Tommy. Hopefully he's a little bit more healthy than he was in the French Open. I'm not going to bore people too much here, but if you want to call in and talk tennis, I'll kiss your feet, basically. Other than that, we've got some baseball today. I guess we could talk a little bit just about the big picture here. July 4th is when I always pick to pay attention.
Yeah, standings are starting to matter soon. We're more than halfway through the year.
I always try to, as I get a little bit older, I try not to freak out as much earlier in the season as I did. I look back at myself and be so silly of if the Yankees lost 3 in a row in May. You got to just, it's a long, long fucking season. It's so hard to stay, upright. I think did the Yankees have the number one? Yeah, the Yankees still, despite all their shortcomings in the last month, they still have the number one run differential in baseball.
Makes no sense.
By a good margin. And sure, there's some blowouts in there too, but they've gotten blown out. Mm-hmm. So the Yankees currently have a half-game lead over the Rays, who seemingly don't lose. Blue Jays are still right around there. Boston can't seemingly get out of their own way. Unless
Speaking of Boston, Liam, show this stat. OPS since the Rafael Devers trade.
not great.
Number 30, the Boston Red Sox.
Turns out if you trade one of the best hitters in baseball and you don't get back anything for hitting, it's not going to work. Yeah, the Red Sox are in a really bad spot. I think Craig Breslow gave
It's almost like they've done this before, too.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like that, where they just can't. I never feel confident in any game.
No, and
where
Craig
it's just
Breslow
like
had some.
They're going to throw this away.
Yeah.
Where they're not like a terrible team, but they just can't win.
They don't have any fundamentals, though.
Yeah.
That's their thing.
Like it's crazy.
Craig Breslow had a few quotes yesterday. One was, "This is a challenge, and there are really hard decisions and really unpopular decisions, and yet despite those, I couldn't imagine a job that I'd rather be doing." I'd love to hear the fan base's reaction to that, and I imagine him doing a different job, because I imagine they want him anywhere else but running the Red Sox. He also said something about Bregman's extensions, where when time comes to that, we'll have those discussions. We're very confident that we will. Trading Devers gives all the leverage to Alex Bregman, because he knows that you can't afford to lose him, which means it's going to cost even more than it used to, that you thought it was going to. And guess who doesn't want to pay money to these guys? John Henry. So that should work out well. Craig Breslow also on WEI said, "We're still looking at the trade deadline as an opportunity to bolster this team. We want to add to this team, and we want to improve our chances down the stretch. We believe in this team." So listen, man, I hate Brian Cashman. I imagine
He's a liar.
I imagine Red Sox fans despise Craig Breslow.
Yeah,
and I imagine a lot of people in that organization heed the same sentiment that one guy did, where he called him fucking stiff. I imagine there's a lot of people in that organization who despise this dude and what he's done to the Red Sox. Boston tonight, they host Toronto, and that is a -115 each way. Probably not great for Boston. That is interesting matchup for the Yankees as I start to care about standings, because Toronto's 3 back, but then I want Boston to be buried. I probably am rooting for Toronto in that series. Am I crazy to think? I thought Boston has a really easy stretch. And yeah, they do. They have at Washington, home to Colorado. That is coming up in a week. But
that's got to be 6-0. That can't be anything less than 6-0.
I feel like Washington's been playing like decent ball. One of those games is at 11. It's a Friday 11 a.m. game.
That's
July 4th.
Traditional July 4th game in DC.
Yeah. I don't fear for Boston. I actually love this, but that Washington series can be a disaster for them.
Yeah.
I could see like James Wood just being a terror for them. And the starting pitching they have lined up is Giolito, Buehler, and Crochet at the moment. Obviously, Crochet is amazing, but Giolito and Buehler, I feel like, don't inspire much confidence at the moment for Boston. I hate that I know so much about this team.
That last Crochet loss for them was like,
brutal.
I'm like, this team can't win.
Brutal.
You have to win the Crochet games.
You
like I said.
have to.
Like Giolito can't pitch. Buehler, I said last year, if the Padres ended up winning the NLDS and Buehler didn't have the NLCS and World Series starts, he does not get a major league contract. He may not get a major league contract after this year at this rate.
I said this when they brought him in, Buehler, and it was based off. It was a good postseason, and he shoved it down the Yankees' throats, no doubt about it. But his numbers, like, he hadn't been good in years.
He got paid off at three good starts in the biggest games of his career, but it was 3 good starts.
Like, we're talking in LA before that, a 5.38. The year before that, 4.02. That was in very minimal starts. That's before he got hurt. So he missed all 2023. 2021 is when you got to go back to when the last time Walker Buehler was like a legitimate front of the line guy. 2021. That's so fucking long ago.
And I think that was his second Tommy John surgery he had too.
So now you're at a 6.29, and I don't know, man, if you want to, like, they have more faith right now in Giolito than Buehler, and that's not good.
I mean, Kyle Harrison gave up 4 runs in his first Woo Sox start.
Saw that. They weren't. Now, to his credit, like, when you start in the minors like that, like, those guys are trying to eliminate pitches, and, you know, that's why the Frankie Montas stuff.
Yeah, like 13 ERA in rehab.
They were treating those minor league appearances, and as bad as they were, like, I'm sure some of them, if you really deep dive into them, are like, hey, only throw your fastball to start. They're treating him literally like a spring. That's why also, like, you can't ever treat a spring training like it's a real thing.
Like
Like
Frankie
Garrett
Montas-
Cole might start something like, hey, dude, don't throw breaking balls to start.
It's like Frankie Montas, 13 ERA in rehab, starts versus the Braves. Oh, he's throwing 98 miles an hour all of a sudden?
Right. So, like, people just freak out to freak out. And I used to be that guy. But getting a little bit older, you start to learn, like, hey, dude, they're really just taking these.
Early in the year, you can't freak out over losses to, like, random teams. The divisional games matter the most. Now is when you start freaking out. Like, that was why the
if
Red
the
Sox
Yankees
series,
lose to the A's, you're
Yes.
going to see me spiral. Like, but I don't.
But that's why the Red Sox series hurt the most, because it's your rival. That's games you should be winning. Those games in the division mean
100%.
more.
And the same way, a mirror was the way the Yankees breathed life into the Red Sox season was the way you just did that to the Braves.
Somewhat breathed life. Even
Yeah,
after
you
that stretch.
stabilized a little bit here with the.
Even after that stretch, they're still 7 back at a wild
Well, because
card.
they managed to split, so like
Yes.
they didn't sweep you. If they had swept you guys, though,
It'd be dangerous.
different kind of story here. One little tidbit from yesterday. All-Stars were announced, right? And the Dodgers have like 7.
Yeah, and Ben Rice is a finalist.
Ben Rice, DH finalist. Paul Goldschmidt, also first base finalist. Irene Judge, obviously an All-Star. But yeah, Ben Rice. Also, Chris Kirshner. Shout out Chris Kirshner from The Athletic. I love that guy. He's like the most real beat reporter we have, and it's very hard for Yankee beat reporters to be like real. But he responded to my tweet, and it was just like, only idiots think that, and it's just a clear shot. I don't know if he knows who Chris Clemmer is. Maybe he does after the Gary Matthews, splat. But he basically called Clemmer an idiot. Ben Rice, good baseball player. Very unlucky, too. Should be better than he is. And I think we're starting to see that. I think he's starting to find a little more luck these days. Hopefully he has a big weekend.
I have a caller on the line I want to put on.
Caller on the line.
Jack wants to talk about the NBA again.
Love it. It's here, Jack.
Hey, guys. Yeah, sorry to backtrack.
No, you're good. We're all over the place. Yep.
Yeah, appreciate the Friday episode. You guys are doing awesome. So I want to say thanks on the front end. All right, so the top 4 teams, Boston being mentioned, I think it's crazy to say if Giannis stays in the East, he's not a top 4 contender in the East, no matter what team he's on. Especially the Bucks, I think.
I agree, but the Bucks also haven't done anything to improve that team from last year.
They really can't. They don't have any assets.
Right. So
And
it's like,
But
yeah.
all the other teams got worse, so they don't even need to. And,
But
Dame
to be
is
fair,
gone.
so did they. Dame's not playing next year, so like that team that Dame was on that team for a good chunk. Obviously, he had the blood clot situation, and then there goes the Achilles. But they're worse than they were last year for the most part.
They are, but Dame was a asset on defense, or a problem on defense.
He was,
and not much of an asset for offense. And it's easy to see Giannis just picking up the slack and having a couple 3-point shooters that come off the bench, and the Bucks look really good next year in the
Well,
East.
also Middleton's gone. Granted, that needed to happen.
You have Kyle Kuzma, who's an awful
Kyle
player.
Kuzma is a negative. I think
Horrible.
since he came on, all those stats were when he was off the floor, they were a way better team. So he's very much on the team and getting minutes. That ain't
I
good.
think Brook Lopez is a free agent, so he's going to go.
I'm tired of Brook
We
Lopez.
drafted a 7-footer.
They still have
that can
Bobby
shoot,
Portis.
So maybe
Who'd they draft?
Bobby, yeah. Don't even know his name.
They-
Some Russian, I believe.
Yeah.
Not a good start.
7-footer from.
Yeah, that's not a good. I don't know if we
And
could.
Sham said Giannis was intently watching the draft and free agency.
Hilarious. And then they drafted the guy with braces who looked bizarre.
They didn't even have a first-round pick. Like, what are you intensely watching?
I hear what you're saying, where Giannis can pick up the
and
slack,
we don't
but
have one next year. I know.
yeah, but I don't know how much more of the slack he can pick up. Giannis does everything.
Giannis can average 34, 15, and 7.
And I think they'd still be in a really
Yeah.
what is all of a
If it
sudden
was to
Gary
Indiana.
Trent Jr. going to be like the guy? I get what you're saying, because the East is so bad. Now, if Giannis switches teams, sure, that team can be one of the. I think in Milwaukee, I don't know how this works next year with how confined they are and how unflexible they are with that roster.
You have $54 million in dead money. 35% of your cap is.
know.
Damian
I love
Lillard.
Giannis, man. I just don't. This Bucks team is just in a really bad spot financially,
I'm a
and
bit delusional. And
Yeah.
hope we can get off the Kuzma with a nice trade, but yeah.
I don't know who's taking. Is he an expiring? That would be your
know.
only hope, but I don't know if he
I
is.
don't believe he is.
So then that's really bad.
It's got to be someone that sees potential in him, which is horrible.
You'd have to drug them.
Kyle Kuzma is making $23 million next year and $20 million a year
That's
after.
not good. That's an untradeable
Maybe he has
asset.
a great start of the season, and
you would have to
trade
attach an
deadline.
asset. You'd have to attach a pick, and they don't have
Yeah,
picks.
they don't have their
We
own
don't have
picks.
picks.
That's like the worst part of this tank.
This is a bad situation. It's a really bad situation. I love Giannis, man.
I think we could compete next year in a battered East, but I hear what you're saying.
I think you can be a 6 seed. I think it's tough to really imagine. Like Detroit's going to get better.
Nothing though.
Detroit's going to get better. Philly, if they're any sort of health, they're better than you guys in my mind. I don't know, man. It's just tough with Dame already was getting up there in age and declining, obviously, and he was an absolute cone on defense. And now you don't even have the offense from him. So
I don't know if the contracts work, but like maybe Zach LaVine is a guy to Bucks target. Like I'm starting to think of like who makes sense for the Bucks. Like who can I picture in a Bucks jersey?
LaVine, that doesn't make you much better.
It doesn't make him better, but it's a
You're
guy.
going to get scoring. You're going to have your 20 points a game there, but that doesn't
Jamal Murray.
I mean, how are you getting Jamal Murray though? Like Jamal Murray would be great in theory. I don't know how you're getting him.
Portis, Kuzma, 20, 30 picks.
It's just praying the last shot. This is why I really don't know why Giannis isn't requesting that trade yet, but he hasn't.
Maybe he just really likes Milwaukee.
He's a loyal fellow,
Maybe
man.
like the fact he does want his legacy to be like, I want to be with one team the whole career. Maybe that does mean
But
something
then
to
the
a player.
NBA gods are like, yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
Sure about that, dude? We're going to make this even harder.
Like if he wants to stay his entire career with one team, God bless him. It's just annoying watching it get wasted.
You got to really dig in then the next couple of years, and then maybe it gets better in a few, but
like how many guys?
It is Giannis, though. It's like why not just do this for the next year or two, even though Dame's hurt?
Well,
Just go
because
all in,
why
use
not?
that pick.
Because one, change of scenery. I've given Milwaukee a title, so I can't be held to the same standard as LeBron leaving Cleveland that first time. Like that's not happening here. They're very thankful for him, and it could be also like he's how old? He's got to be getting up there at some point. He's 30. Mm-hmm. You only have X amount of years of your prime left if you're Giannis. He's not done by any means. He's a force, but like, do you really want to waste them being on this team that has such a capped ceiling? Why wouldn't you want to go somewhere else and try
if
and?
he chooses to stay, oh, totally. If he chooses to go, I understand that in a heartbeat. It would break my heart, but I'll get it. If he chooses to stay, I think it's on the Bucks to make moves for the next 1 to 3 years to capitalize on the rest of Giannis.
Sure. What we're just saying though is it's really hard to do that with how the aprons and the roster is constructed and the dead money with Dame. Like, it's just really tough for them to really maneuver any which way. It's a bad situation.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I feel for you, but you do have a title, so I also don't feel for you.
We'll love him for that forever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, appreciate the call, man. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, appreciate your time.
One more NBA guy.
One more NBA guy.
It's the Hornets guy that wants to talk Knicks.
Love it. He's back.
Yeah.
What do we got? What happened to LaMelo?
Knicks, fellas. No more LaMelo this time. And,
Okay.
I wish Clemmer was there today to kind of go over, everything he's wrong about with the Knicks. But, look, we have a really talented team, Hubs. I know you're not supremely confident that we can win with Cat and Brunson.
Unfortunately not.
Look, it sometimes takes longer than a year to gel these guys together when you bring in, 2 all-star caliber players in Bridges and Towns. And I think a big, problem with Tibbs is he's stuck in his ways, and you saw him making adjustments for the first time all year in the Eastern Conference Finals, and that just can't happen. Mm-hmm. I'm not super high on Dadier, but if he even becomes like a 10th or 9th guy in the lineup as a rotational piece, you see how big that depth is now in the playoffs, looking at teams like the Pacers and the Thunder. And I'm really high on Kolek. I think if you can add those 2 guys to the rotation, pick up a couple of veteran minimums, mid-level exception guys, that team can get better. And now with Halliburton and Tatum out, it's wide open for us to win it all. So just because we got to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years and then lost, that does not mean that we can't get better. So I'm very confident running it back with these guys, and hopefully we, pick up a coach here soon. And I think it's going to be the best chance at a title that I've had in my lifetime.
I don't disagree with you because the East is so bad. Like it's such a golden opportunity where it's really just us and the Cavs, and if you want to factor the Magic in there with Desmond Bane, absolutely go for it. Boston, their Boston will be a top 6 seed, I'm sure, because they're a well-oiled machine, but their ceiling is certainly capped, it feels like. The Knicks are in a good spot, but the thing is, like, how do you not watch that team in the postseason where it was so clear that Brunson and Towns, your two best players, your two big offensive threats, can't play together because defensively you'll get absolutely destroyed. So, like, you have to change that up because if they got to the finals, if they were able to get past Indiana, like, OKC is destroying them. Like, that's not going 7 games. They'd be lucky to win 1, in my mind. Like, I think OKC would have picked them apart. And that's why I think you really got to move. It's as hard as it is after making the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, you have to find a way to move around the pieces here and get Towns off the team. Because it's one of Towns or Brunson, and I'm not trading Brunson. So, for me, it's Towns, and like we've said on the show, like, a team can find value in Towns because if he goes to a defensive first team, that can fit for him because you can hide him better. But you can't really hide him with Brunson on the floor. Those guys just get picked apart. So if you have to, and the Bridges extension that's coming up here terrifies me.
Well, you brought Bridges. I just found a mock trade. Liam, can you show it? Who says no to this deal?
So we would get Jaden Ivey, Azor Thompson, Chris Paul, Al Horford, and Kevin McCullough comes back, giving up Bridges, Hardaway Jr., Beasley, and Schroeder. Huh.
Who says no? Detroit must really like Mikal Bridges.
I would probably say, unless we have a gun at the Pistons, they would say no.
I would easily trade Mikal for Ausar Thompson straight up if that's the question.
Now, like, that's not the trade I want. Like, that it shifts around the pieces, but to me, that still leaves you with Towns and Brunson.
Yeah.
That's a problem. In my mind, that's an unfixable problem unless you trade those guys. Like, I don't think Towns is the defender he is. You're not changing how Towns defends. I don't think he even cares about. Honestly, some of his interviews like bother me where I don't think he realizes how big of an issue his defense is. And I think Brunson does, but Brunson's limited with his size. It just is. So I don't know, man. I really would do my best to get rid of Towns and shift it around as best I can.
And I feel like, Hubs, you're kind of figuring it out here when we're going through this trade that other than, a Giannis, which I just don't see happening, there's not a lot out on the market where you can move a Towns and get better right away. So I just think with the injuries in the East and the success we had last year, you run that back one more time. I just don't see what players are on the market right now to go make a big splash in the trade market. As much as I've hated Chris Paul his whole career, I actually love bringing him in at a veteran minimum to back up Brunson.
Sure.
Yeah, I just think you bring in a better coach to figure out the rotations. You obviously play Towns and Brunson their normal minutes, but keep them separated as much as possible. Hopefully Mitch stays healthy. You can do a lot with those lineups when he's healthy.
One thing I agree with you on.
I'm confident we're running this back, and it's going to go well.
One thing I agree with you on is a year. I think Bridges' offensive game would take a leap a year removed from his first season in New York. I think he'd be more comfortable. I would pray to God he would actually start to take layups and absorb contact. But I think he would become a better offensive weapon for you in year 2. But if he's the guy that has to be moved to get rid of a Towns, and let's say it's Deuce, Bridges, and Towns in a Giannis deal with whatever picks you have. I don't know.
Well, I have a Giannis deal right here. Liam can show that.
But like you're doing that, right? Like
this is the trade you make.
Who's that below Giannis?
Simone Fontecchio.
Okay.
So we'd get him with Giannis, and we only give up Cat and Bridges.
Yeah, I mean, if that happens, then
and that Washington pick could have some value.
Playing the parade down, the Canyon of Heroes, but
don't sleep on Washington making the playoffs next year and that pick conveying.
No, we need McCollum to be a star for Washington, and we need that pick to convey for sure. But
I also like how we don't even consider Brooklyn part of New York.
No.
Where you were like, Bridges, his first year in New York.
Right. Yeah, it's actually very
like
funny.
the Nets just like don't exist.
That's very funny. I mean, the Nets took 5 first-round picks, and 4 of them are fake guys. So, Knicks are in an interesting spot. I'll say that. But it's a good spot to be in because of how set up they are to win the East potentially. My Knicks life has been super depressing. So like this is definitely the most exciting. They're knocking on the door. They are one move away, and they just have to find. Leon's got to find the way to be so handsome and find.
It's why I was kind of annoyed. Mars like, oh, don't you wish like you had a draft pick? It kind of sucks not having a draft pick this year. It's like, no, I picked 3rd overall. I picked in the lottery like a majority of my life. It's not fun. I'd rather be winning games.
Oh, so what? We can take Obi instead of Halliburton, like.
So I can take Kevin Knox.
Yeah, so we can not get Steph Curry, like.
Or Frank and Tilakina.
I'm all good, man. Like, I was completely content. Not when the Knicks popped up on the screen yesterday for the second round, I was like, "Oh, look at that!" But it was like,
would have liked a second round player. I saw a little bit of college, sure, but I'm not like I don't care.
Yeah, Jackson Robinson, man, that's the only guy I'll say keep your eye on. I like that guy. He's a silent killer for Kentucky this past year. He went undrafted. I'm actually just curious, where the fuck did Jackson Robinson end up?
I know Hunter Dickinson went to New Orleans.
I know that. Jackson Robinson is still waiting on a phone call, bro. Sign Jackson Robinson. That's silly. He had like a hand injury or wrist injury or whatever. Maybe the people scared of that.
You saw how ESPN's promoting Summer League, the first matchup?
No.
Cooper Flag versus Bronny James. The first overall pick versus Bronny. This is our marketing.
ESPN's the worst, man. Come on. That's so bad. All right, so let's get into some picks.
Want to start off with King of Diamond?
Let's do King of Diamond. Let's scroll some teams. Let's spend a few minutes here. Let's sift through.
Well, I'll give 2, you give 2, and Liam can give 1.
Okay. So let me see if there's any good weather anywhere. Ballpark Pal is a very good Twitter follow for that. Doesn't look like there's anything crazy here. They were the ones that alerted me there was going to be a crazy win game in Wrigley, but it doesn't appear that way. Okay. Shitty weather in New York. I wouldn't take a Yankee. Although we might destroy Mitch Spence. Brian Bayo. All right. I'm going to go with a Blue Jay. Let's go Ernie Clement.
I could definitely see that being a name that wins.
Ernie Clement plus 950. And then we're gonna hunt in. I feel like everyone's gonna be in that Phillies Braves game. That feels like a place where the ball just is gonna fly tonight for some reason. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go into Cincinnati here, and I'm gonna take TJ. Friedel.
TJ Friedel.
Believe he leads off for them. So let's get a bunch of at-bats in there. Let's run into one.
Wait, who are they? Who are the Reds playing?
They're playing the Padres. Dylan Cease.
That's a guy that's losing money. Hold on, I'm just trying to add it. What time is that game?
That's at 7:10.
Okay, so it's in Cincinnati.
Yep.
So I have 2 picks.
Those 2 alone, by the way, if they homer, is plus 7,250.
So I'm taking a game in Arizona just because the Diamondbacks pitching staff is awful. Give me Augustin Ramirez.
Oh, my former prospect.
It's like the first prospect Cashman's given up in forever. It's like actually like good, and it's not like trolling like the Yankees take.
No.
Every day.
I say the other one was Josh Smith has turned into a nice player for the Rangers.
Yeah, but the Yankees generally don't get bad when they don't get like.
What I'm trying to remember. What was the Ramirez trade?
It was for Jazz.
Got it.
I don't know if there's any other players involved, but
happy with that trade though. Like Jazz has turned into a really nice player for them. Like this version of Jazz, at least since he's come off the IL, is like very helpful to this team.
Also, is Mitch Spence a right-handed pitcher?
I think so.
Let me just double check. Mitch Spence throws righty.
Yep.
He
got shelled by Cleveland his last start, but
I will be taking Ben Rice in this.
Hey, Benny boy.
And Liam, your guy?
I will be taking Jarren Duran. I think he is due.
Okay.
He has been bad.
He has been very bad.
I think he is due. I think tonight's the night.
Wait, Phil, who were yours?
Augustine Ramirez and Ben Rice, and you have TJ Friedel,
and
Ernie Clement,
and
then Liam gave us Jaren Duran, so put in $5. All right, and if that hits, that's $5 to win $60K.
Pretty good. That would be a good start to the break. I'll say that. All right, let's do picks for today. I'm gonna put in a future pick. For Wimbledon because that's going to start while we're on break, and I'm just going to have Carlos Alcaraz winning Wimbledon because his draw is pretty good. It's plus 120. You're not going to get anything good out of it, but Sinner is not a good grass court player. Djokovic, I think Carlos has his number now on grass. And then after that, I don't really see anyone crazy, at least in his draw. I really just like Carlos' chances of being a three-time champion at Wimbledon. So plus 120 Carlos Alcaraz to win Wimbledon is my first pick here. And then I'll tweet out some picks throughout the week of if I like anything in the morning on Wimbledon. I usually don't love doing that, but we'll see. I'm going to take the Pirates plus 118. I think that is a really good number for them with David Peterson. That kind of screams that Vegas thinks Peterson is regressing a little bit. He got shelled by the Phillies in his last start.
I think his first bad start in like a month.
Yep. I'm going to take Will Warren K's again. That is a fun bet. What can we get them at? 7 Ks is minus 135, so I'll be on that. Anyone else? I'm taking the Blue Jays minus 101. Jose Barrios against Brayan Bello. Let's see if there's a late one I love. Dodgers are in KC with Noah Cameron on the bump. I feel like Cameron, has he rebounded at all? Because the Yankees got him good. Just show me like one good start recently. Anything good. Okay, he's rebounded a little bit. Give me the Royals plus 128. Noah Cameron against Dustin May. If I remember correctly, May hasn't been.
Yeah, he's been asked.
All that good. And oh wait, there was one more. I'm fading the Giant.
Breaking news: Big Dumper will be in the home run derby.
Good for him. I hope it doesn't mess up his swing because he's having a hell of a year. But where is that again this year?
Atlanta.
Okay. Last pick: White Sox plus 128 against the Giants. The Giants just got swept by the Marlins. That's just not a good line for them.
Nope.
Plus 128.
Right,
what else you got, Phil?
Juan Soto, 2+ total bases, plus 105.
Okay. And Liam?
Liam doesn't have any picks.
No picks. Okay. That's our show. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the callers making this show fly a little bit. Limited talking points and limited posts. We'll be back here in a little over a week. Enjoy your break if you got a break. I doubt you do because we're kind of the only ones to do that.
Enjoy your summer.
Enjoy your summer. July 4th. Stay safe out there. We'll see you in a little bit. Later.